Warning. Listener discretion advisory for the following program. It contains explicit language, controversial takes, and tangents that'll make your head spin. All opinions expressed are just that, opinions, and belong solely to those who speak them. This is...
What an excellent day for an August.
You'd like that?
Are you fucking nuts?
You listen, you little bitch. You hang up on me again, I'll gut you like a fish, understand?
I want you to pray to your God. I want you to pray that he comes and saves you.
Do I look like someone who cares what God thinks?
Spoilers ahead.
Welcome to episode 122 of What an Excellent Day for a Podcast. And as always, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and leave a sweet old rating and review explaining to the rest of the interwebs why they should be listening to us. And for this week's episode, I'm going to get selfish. For those of you awesome motherfuckers out there who have been listening to us for quite some time, know that I have this unhealthy obsession with the Bad Ben franchise. So while I await the return of my fellow horror nerds, I'm going to take this opportunity to suck it off a little bit. Love you, brothers. Now, for all of you out there who have not yet watched any of these movies, that doesn't make you a bad person. I'm sure you had your reasons. There's still time to repent. These movies came into being almost out of spite. Nigel Bach, the writer, director, and star of these movies, was at the tail end of pre-production to make his first film when he got a phone call that the last of 8 people who were going to be part of this project had to tap out. But did he let that stop him? Fuck no. He turned on his phone, hit record, and began talking into the camera. This moment has been immortalized as it became the opening scene to the very first Bad Ben movie. And on a budget of $300, it was a damn good time. This self-proclaimed, middle-aged, bald, fat dude from South Jersey, all aspects that I can relate to, back in 2016, managed to put together the first of an insanely long, ongoing franchise. And as much as I would love to go into an in-depth episode on all of these movies, I'm going to go easy on you guys this time. Just going to go with the tip. As of this moment, March of 2026, there are 15 movies to this franchise, with the funds being raised for Part 16. So what I'm going to do for this time around is, after Part 10, there is a bit of a shift from the Bad Ben mythology. Now, don't get me wrong, he's still included, but the franchise does go in somewhat of a different direction, as the man, the myth, the legend, Tom Riley, goes on many other crazy adventures. So what I'm going to do is take the first 10 films and rank them from the most awesomest to the slightly least awesomest. Hey, I love them all, but you can only have one best. I love each one of these movies in their own fun way. And don't worry, I'm not getting soft on y'all, but this will be, yet again, another relatively spoiler-free discussion on any of these movies, mainly because I would love to go back and do somewhat more of a deep dive into this franchise. So again, just a tip. Going to tease you guys a little bit. Going to go through the synopsis, what I did and didn't like about each one of these as I rank the first 10 movies of the Bad Ben juggernaut. So before I kick this off, I'm going to go into the synopsis of the OG film, just to be undeservingly polite to those of you who are unfamiliar with this series. So just to give you a gauge as to what this whole thing is about. Tom Riley thought he was getting the deal of a lifetime when he bought a house below market value at a sheriff's sale. He invested every penny he had with the plan of flipping this home for a profit. Once he owned it, however, he noticed strange happenings, all of which were captured on 21 surveillance cameras located throughout the home, inside and out. At first, he thought people were breaking in, but soon realized he was dealing with something paranormal. And that's it. Very simple premise. It's your typical found footage. Somebody's doing a thing, or at least trying to do a thing, and things don't play out the way they were intended. Now that you got your trial by fire entry into this franchise, let's get on with the countdown. At number 10, we have the Crescent Moon Clown.
Unexplained things start happening to a family when they move into their new home. But the source of evil appears to emanate from a clown doll found in a box. Renee spends her first night alone in her parents' new house. She begins to hear noises and unexplained things start happening. At first, she believes it to be her friends playing a prank, but she will soon learn that it is something more sinister.
The Crescent Moon Clown is a movie that, obviously I enjoy it at least a little bit because I've seen it at least 4 times now. But if you really look at it, the reason why I would put this at the bottom of these 10 movies is nothing really happens throughout. And again, I know the references you're going to make, but I am still entertained. But this whole movie is entity does a thing, and Renee, our main character, or pretty much our only character, undoes the thing. So there's a scene where something's spelled out in blood. She cleans it up. Some things happen in the bathroom. She undoes these things. Doors are open, lights are turned on, and basically textbook stuff that you would see in a haunted / found footage movie. But it's her walking around the house going, hello, hello. And she does a great job with it, but it's just under 90 minutes of her walking around the house, yelling out hello. And like I said, every time this entity does a thing, she undoes it and continue. Now, when we get to the third act, things start to pick up. And if for no other reason than it being a Bad Ben movie, the ending of the movie is fucking hilarious. Kudos to Nigel for going there. It's just a playful little joke, and I'm not going to say it because I think it's best experienced on your own. But nowadays, this is something that people would frown upon. I thought it was great. I don't know if it was Nigel's idea or the actress's idea. I think her name is Jetta Anderson. I believe that's what it says here. So I don't know who came up with that idea, but either way, it was a nice little punchline to the end of the movie. And ultimately we do get some resolve, and sometimes extreme measures have to be taken to survive or defeat the bad guy. So I still enjoy the movie, but out of these first 10 movies, I would say it lags the most. Number 9, we have Benign.
Tom Riley must break into the house on Steelmanville Road after being locked out. Strange things are happening that cannot be explained, like odd smells, stuff moving, etc. He then finds himself facing the most powerful demon ever.
Bad Ben, Benign. This is one, obviously a lot more happens in it than in the Crescent Moon Clown. And one of the things I really like about this one is all of these movies do follow basically in chronological order. There is a prequel thrown in the mix, which we will get to that at some point on this list. But for the most part, with each movie, it's not necessarily a direct sequel, but it does follow the story. There is some level of continuity. But this one stands out a little bit because this is a direct continuation of the previous movie. Again, another one we will get to later on in this list. So I did like that little touch of pandemic ends a specific way, and this kind of like old school sequels back in the 80s and, I believe even in the 70s too. You get like a minute wrap up of the previous movie and then just continues that storyline. Also, the demon in question in the synopsis, not going to spoil the name here, but it is I would say possibly the most famous demon in cinematic history. But I think the main reason I'm not going to say it, aside of spoilers, is when you watch the movie, it's kind of forbidden to speak this name. Another great thing about this movie is you really see him leaning into some CGI effects. And, I mean, they look like low-budget movie CGI. But it's still fun. It still serves the story. I'm not looking for Spielberg-level shit here. And again, if you're watching this series, you're not going in for this cinematic masterpiece. You're going in for a good time, just a silly little found footage franchise. So yes, the effects are good enough to serve the story. And another thing you get out of this one is, I would say this is probably the biggest twist of any of the movies. There's really, the more I think about it, this whole movie, I'm not saying no effort was put in any of them, but yeah, it almost feels like overall production value and writing, like there's, my man Nigel, he goes all out for this one, especially at the ending, because my man goes up against these fuckers in a way that would make a Marvel character proud. So if you find any enjoyment out of these movies, absolutely check out Bad Ben Part 9, Benign, coming in at my number 9. Number 8, we have The Haunted Highway.
Tom Riley has a new job as a ride-sharing driver for the Drop You Off service, and the strange new experience he has driving his clients on Halloween night in 2019 are all captured on his dash cam, body cam, and surveillance cameras. Among his clients are a young woman carrying a suspicious parcel, a witch, and an unfriendly scarecrow.
That's right, Part 7, The Haunted Highway. This one, again, if you put aside there being a prequel in the mix, and there's also one other one that, again, we'll get to it, but I see more as a spin-off. But as far as continuing the Tom Riley story, this is the first one to kind of take a different path, so to speak. Meaning, he's still dealing with some shit. The house is involved, but this isn't about being in the house and dealing with ghosts. He's dealing with the supernatural and just freaks and all kinds of shit in a completely different way. I'm thinking performances as a whole, this is probably in my top 3 Tom Riley-est portrayals. It's everything you love about Tom Riley without becoming a caricature of himself. I mean, this is it. One of the great things about this character is he has moments where he gets scared. Sometimes a jump scare will catch him, but I'm assuming it's other people too, but my favorite thing about him is everything he deals with, he doesn't shy away from this shit. He wants to get to the bottom of things, and when things happen, he gets pissed. And I fucking love that. Like, my man goes full Jersey. And this is one of those cases of maybe not as much with the other shit going on. This is a lot of him because, as the synopsis says, he joined a rideshare program, which is called Drop You Off. So a lot of this is him picking people up, dropping them off, and the conversations he has on the commute. And he's just trying to do a good job and get a good rating, but half the people are kind of dicks to him, which brings out some of the Jersey in this guy. And I fucking love it. And then when the weird shit happens and the supernatural comes into play, yeah, then he's just like, really, this fucking shit again. It's amazing. I love it. And again, don't look at this like I'm going like best to worst, like the bottom end of this list means it's garbage. I'm just saying this franchise is one of my favorites for very different reasons than a lot of other ones, say like the Saw franchise. For just a good time franchise, this is definitely maybe my top 10. I would say definitely top 15, with a chance of being in my top 10. And again, we're talking just for pure enjoyment. So for this being at the lower end of this ranking, this is in no way me shitting on it. It's still fun. I just enjoy some of them more. Taking the number 7 slot, we have Part 6, The Way In.
The new owner of the home on Steelmanville Road has hired Tom Riley to go back into the home to rid it of all the malevolent forces prior to moving her family in. Tom returns alone and finds himself battling 9 demons.
So, Bad Ben, The Way In. As it says in the synopsis, new owners of the house, yet again. This is the follow-up to the Crescent Moon Clown, so I guess Renee told her folks, fuck this place, get rid of it. So now, Emily May now owns the house. You don't actually see her in the movie, but it's established early on in the beginning that before she moves into this house, she reaches out to Tom Riley, I guess knowing that he has experience with dealing with this house and surviving this house and all the bullshit that's involved with it, but also that he fancies himself a paranormal investigator, and not that he says it, but I guess to some extent like an exorcist. So she decides to give him a fuck ton of money because, hey, my man Tom's on hard times, but has him go into the house for however long it takes to basically eliminate all the spirits, especially the evil ones, from this house so she can move in and live a normal life. And also, as it explains in the synopsis, there are 9 demons to be eliminated from this household. So, if you've watched all the movies up to this point, it also acts as like a fun greatest hits of all the previous movies. No, this isn't a clip show, but there are things you see in most of the other movies that do make an appearance in this one. And I guess to some extent, you almost get a backstory to some of the other things from the others. But Tom goes into the house, he does a quick scan and sees no signs of paranormal bullshit. But, of course, things start to happen. And as the title of the movie implies, he is on the search to find out, because he walked into what seemed like a clean home. All of a sudden, you have all these little assholes coming in and fucking with him. So he needs to figure out the way in that these demons are using. And I think it's at this point in the franchise where it really starts to sink in for me. My man Tom, he gets the shit kicked out of him a lot in these fucking movies. And it always seems like they sucker punch him in the few moments that he decides to just sit down and relax. So you know what? Fuck these demons. And last but certainly not least, I believe this is the first movie that dives in to the Tom Riley multiverse. We get a little sprinkle of alternate dimensions. My number 6 is one that I think, if there are any listeners out there that are a fan of these movies, might get a little pissed off at me for putting it so high on my list. It sounds like anytime I hear anyone talk about these movies, this one always seems to fall at everyone's bottom. And I don't know, I liked it. And I'm talking about the second movie, Steelmanville Road, which is the prequel that I've already referenced a handful of times already.
Rachel Harris and her husband Matt move into their new home, only to experience a barrage of paranormal and increasingly aggressive activity.
So yes, 2016, Nigel Bach makes Bad Ben. And after some investigating, it turns out he found the means to have it run on Amazon Prime. And it kind of became a bit of a cult hit pretty early on. People were checking it out, and it got itself a little bit of a fan base. Enough that he decided he was going to go in and make another movie. And it seems like early on, he already had the idea for making the prequel, to give the origin story of Ben and his parents, Rachel and Matt. And with this one, he leaned into, because again, he was trying to make a scary found footage movie. It ended up being a hit. So with his next movie, he was going to lean harder into making it a dark, creepy movie. And it turns out what people loved about the original movie was not the comedy, but Tom is such a great character, but so unconventional that he became funny. And not laughing at him, he just made the movie enjoyable. So for Nigel to be leaning into more horror in this, apparently that's not what the masses liked about the original movie. So this is why it seems to be at the bottom of a lot of people's lists. I thought, actually, with most of these movies, even though there are laughs to be had, they did each have their own creepy moments. And this one's no exception. For him to be going for more darkness, more scares in this, I think he kind of succeeded. So yeah, if you watch this as just another Bad Ben movie with its original intent being a scary found footage, I think it works. Yes, it's not nearly as funny as many of these movies go, but I still find it enjoyable. You get the backstory pretty spelled out. I think I've even heard other people compare it to the prequel trilogy of Star Wars, how it felt like it was a lot of answers were shoehorned in the later half of the movie. And I agree. I don't think it took anything away from me, but I get that critique. There's things going on in this movie, and it was like, oh yeah, we need to tie all the loose ends so we could roll right into the original movie. And yeah, that's kind of what happened. But I still think it's worth a watch. So by all means, pull this one up. Let me know what you think about it. Because it definitely seems like, I don't even know if I'm in the minority. I might be the only person who would rank this so high on my list. But I really, really want to be wrong on this. And at number 5, we have Part 4, The Mandela Effect.
In 2016, the horror Tom Riley experienced in a home he bought at a sheriff's sale was captured on 21 security cameras in his home. What if he was experiencing this over and over again in parallel universes? Bad Ben, The Mandela Effect, gathers footage together that shows the paranormal experiences Tom had seem to keep occurring.
Alright, that one seems to be the most fucked up, yet still accurate synopsis for any of these movies. And this is the one I referenced earlier that I count more as a spin-off rather than direct canon to this storyline. And yeah, it's basically what it says here, that the movie starts off, and it's kind of weird. I guess this is going to be the most spoilery one I get into out of all of these. But it goes into, like, it kicks right off, and you think you're just rewatching the original movie. But as Tom gets to the new house, you start noticing little, and I guess that's where we get the Mandela effect from. You're watching it because it's a play-for-play, the original movie. But then he goes into the house and it's like, oh wait, that seems a little different. That seems a little, all right, wait, this wasn't exactly how it went. Or was it? I don't know. And then you learn within the first 5 minutes, oh shit, this is technically the first movie, but it's not playing out the same way. And this goes on for, I believe, it's at least 15 minutes. You're running through this. And then there's somewhat of a conclusion to the story. And then snap, we go back to the beginning of the movie again, but this time it plays out completely different. And if I remember right, I think it's 4, maybe 5, but I think it's 4 different universes in which the beginning of the original movie plays out. And this is another one where I've heard people say, like, yeah, well, I don't know. Nah, I thought it was a fun twist, because I do believe originally when he was making these, it was intended to be a trilogy. Again, the first one hit it off. He goes with the prequel, and then he goes with a third one that, okay, this is going to be the end of Tom Riley's story. And this is almost kind of like a new beginning for the Bad Ben universe. It's not quite direct canon, but it's a nice little break from the story. I don't know. But I just thought it was a creative little idea for taking this storyline. And even if he ended at this, which obviously not, because again, we got part 16 in the works. Yeah, I enjoyed it. And the way one or two of these storylines end, fucking beautiful. And at fourth place, we have Bad Ben 10, Eulogy. And I guess the title alone, a little bit of spoiler territory here.
Tom Riley is dead. Video podcaster Jackson Scott is reflecting on his life and death and assembling a broadcast after researching his life. He discovers there might be a way to bring Tom back if he can figure it out.
Yeah, I know. It's so sad. We start this movie off, and our beloved Mr. Riley has passed. But on a positive note, this is the movie where we get the introduction to a character that sticks around for many, many more entries. And that is podcaster Jackson Scott, who has heard the legend of Tom Riley and the house on Steelmanville Road and decides he's going to put together his own little documentary on our favorite New Jerseyan. So by any means, some of them could be a little questionable as far as being legal.
Allegedly.
But yeah, he ends up digging up a lot of videotapes and things like that because, again, up to this point, from fairly early on in the series, Tom becomes a paranormal investigator and he puts ads out. He's looking to help other people deal with their paranormal activities. And that's one of the great things about this movie, that all this footage that Jackson acquires is showing Tom's footage of all the people he has helped, maybe, sort of, kinda, and shows the effects that this man has had on the community and all the lives he has enriched through his new abilities. And also, as the synopsis implies, through Jackson's research, he heard there may be a reason to bring Tom back. But there's a lot of obstacles in the way. So, whether or not it works, guess you're gonna have to watch to find out. But I did cut the series off at this point for a reason. So, does the Bad Ben legend end for Mr. Riley here? And this story continues as the Jackson Scott saga? Well, guess you're gonna have to watch these movies and find out. And here we are down to the top 3 of my personal ranking of the first 10 films in the Bad Ben universe. And for number 3, actually this is the second alignment that was totally unintentional. I'm going with part 3, which is Badder Ben, the final chapter. Remember just a little while ago where I was saying it felt like this was intended to be a trilogy? Well, as you can see, I wasn't just pulling shit out of my ass. Much like that beloved campground slasher movie, also titled The Final Chapter. Sorry, money speaks. There's a fan base for this, you keep the fuck going. Well, sometimes. But this is definitely one of those examples.
A team of paranormal investigators returned to the Steelmanville Road property to make a documentary about what happened there.
As it's already been discussed, we get the original movie, then we get Steelmanville Road, which is the prequel, so this is actually the first official sequel of these movies. And yeah, pretty cut and dry, I guess. We have a group of documentarians, I guess, who know about the events of the original movie and, much like many other people in the future, want to get to the bottom as to what happened to Tom Riley. So again, by questionable means, they pull in some resources to acquire footage of the original events. They do some actual footwork to possibly find where Tom could be now. And ultimately, these three people happen to track him down, ask him to come back to the house, obviously for a few bucks. This is really the first time, or this is really the only time in the whole series where you get any trauma from Tom. And it worked for this movie. It definitely played as comic relief. And, but I'm glad it was just kind of a one and done, because me personally, I'm a fan of badass Tom Riley. But they track him down. They convince him monetarily to come back to the house so they can shoot their own little documentary and have Tom explain his experiences firsthand. But there may or may not be some ulterior motives involved with this. Like I said, a lot of people seem to shun Steelmanville Road because of it wasn't the darkness of the original movie that people were drawn to. It was for the chuckles you got that just naturally came from the character. So when Nigel realized that's not what people loved about the original movie, he definitely goes like he goes for it. He's like, "Oh, okay. Well, you love my movie, but because you think they're funny. Well, I'm going to start making these fuckers comedies." And each movie, it's to a different extent. It's definitely kind of slapsticky in this one, but I don't know. I liked it. I've heard a few people say they're not particularly fan of it because he went too heavy on the comedy, went from a nice balance in the original movie, then went too serious in Steelmanville Road, and then just overcompensated for this one. I don't necessarily think so. Like I've said with most of these, I had a good time with it, and had this been the final one, I mean, this one did end in a way that it could have actually been the final chapter. But again, there was an audience for this. He had to keep going, and I'm kind of grateful for that. So, yes. And at number 2, we have Pandemic.
The world has been brought to its knees by the pandemic, and individuals worldwide seek Tom Riley's advice as to whether they are experiencing paranormal happenings or just events related to the virus.
Anyone out there want to take a guess as to when Bad Ben Pandemic came out? Ding, ding, ding. Yep, 2020. And I thought this was a creative way to take it. It seems as if he was itching to put out another movie while maintaining social distancing. So this was a way to pull that off. This is also the first one where he really got into fan participation, which I'm assuming these were perks in exchange for helping to finance this movie. But we get, I don't know, a half dozen or so video chats. Well, let's back this up a little bit. So Tom is all in with this paranormal investigator thing. And in this pandemic, he doesn't specifically spell out what the pandemic is. This plays more as almost like a zombie apocalypse type of thing. Not quite, but along those lines, where this virus causes people to act weird, almost demonic in a way. So with his expertise in the paranormal, he puts out an ad that you could video chat with him, and if you're experiencing any kind of weirdness during the pandemic, you could relay it to him, or if you have video evidence of it, show it to him, and he will determine whether or not you have some kind of paranormal activity going on, or if this is something virus related. Which, as this progresses, it does lead one to question which one is actually worse. because the shit that happens from this virus, I don't know, might be worth having like a ghost or two around your house over this. But not only would I put this as my number 2 movie of the first 10, I would also put this as number 2 as the most Tom Riley-est of them all, because his interactions with these people, it's great. If he's in a video chat with someone and they do something that he deems stupid, he calls them out on it. And it's like he just has no tolerance for poor judgment. And even though they're all fun interactions, and for a bunch of fans to come in and play these parts, overall I think everyone did a pretty good job. But by far my favorite segment of this would be the character of Katie. I can't get enough of that scene. It's fucking hilarious. But don't get discouraged, because this isn't just 100 and change minutes of these video chats. I mean, that's the bulk of it, but there is a point where Mr. Riley somewhat progresses the canon of the whole Bad Ben story. And even though it's pretty much thrown in at the end, it's still, I think, a pretty enjoyable watch. Like, you get these people dealing with these things, and he's just, again, he just goes full Jersey on these people. Some of them he's sympathetic towards. I mean, most of them he is, but if there's a point where somebody's playing like a practical joke on him, almost mocking this business venture he's getting into, and he's just like, you know what? Fuck you people. And then you get some of these people that, you know, dive into some of the horror tropes, like, I hear these weird sounds coming from my house, so I'm going to go investigate. And he's just like, what are you, fucking stupid? Don't go over there. Just get away. Move. And then there are some of these segments where it does appear that they are dealing with virus-related shenanigans. And with some of those, he does not hesitate. Okay, somebody's acting fucked up outside. Do not go out there. And this does sound silly as far as like, oh, what's the big deal? It's the character of Tom Riley. The way he goes after these people and also helps them. It's just, by this point in the series, you grow to love Tom for who he is. And he does not disappoint in this one. So that's why I had to put it in this far up. Which only leaves us with... That's right. For those of you who've been paying attention, keeping track, keeping score, whatever cliche you want to throw out there, the only one we have left is the original 2016 Bad Ben. And I just had to put this in at number 1. It's, again, it's just an enjoyable ride. The biggest thing that stood out with this when I first watched it is this isn't your typical found footage haunted house movie. He goes into this house that he just won at a sheriff's sale, and he's just coming in to dress it up a little bit, flip it, sell it, make a killing, move on to the next house. And he finds out early on, as I explained in the synopsis at the very beginning of this episode, some weird shit happens. He thinks it's people breaking into the house or pranksters or local kids, whatever, and realizes that's not the case. And he does some investigating and learns at least a little bit. Obviously, it gets more explained in Steelmanville Road, but he finds out about the previous owners and how things didn't go well for them, and that there is a Ben that's involved with this. And through a particular scene in the movie, you get a good Ben and a bad Ben. Yeah. But as he's finding all of this out, again, your typical haunted house movie, you either get people trying to be brave and get to the bottom of it, try to figure out a solution, or they completely freak out and they're just trying to figure out a way to end it so they're not tortured anymore. Nope. Tom Riley gets fucking pissed. and it's just gold. He doesn't necessarily come off as trying to be brave. He definitely doesn't get scared. Again, there's some jump scares that might startle him a little bit, but no, he goes full on Jersey attitude. You fuckers are ruining my money-making opportunity, and you need to get the fuck out of my house. He's just yelling at them, and it's great. Another favorite scene of mine is when he first realizes that shit ain't right with this house. He decides to call the realtor, I guess, that was in charge of the sheriff's sale, and that interaction, one of my, I would say, either top 3 or top 5 scenes in the entire franchise. He handles that phone call like any Jersey motherfucker would. And going back to, like I said in the beginning, this was a very impromptu movie. He had a plan for something, it didn't work out, and in the frustration of his movie falling through, he just turned the camera on, started talking, and just built a movie around it. He didn't have to rely on anybody. I mean, a little bit to get some people to like slam doors and things, the typical things you get in these movies. That is one thing that's pretty cookie cutter. But other than that, he is the only actor. I think he had 2 cameras, like he had his phone and he had like a GoPro. And the fact that he was able to put this together, like fucking kudos. There's just so much about it. And again, just your average Jersey asshole pulling something like this off. Again, Academy Award worthy? Not in the least. But it's a great time. And I just found it inspiring. Like, he came upon this huge speed bump and said, fuck it, I'm making a movie. I don't need anybody. It was the first time since watching Clerks for the first time of, holy shit, everybody has the resources to make a movie. As long as you have some skill and a good idea, you could throw something together. And that's not to say like filmmaking in general is easy, but again, this was the first time since '94 that something like this feels tangible. So it's just all kinds of things, like the movie itself, but the way it struck me as, again, somebody just fucking diving in and doing it, I had to put it at the top. Are there other movies in this franchise that I found more enjoyable? Probably. But there's just many factors to this. I had to put it in at the top spot. So, I hope you all enjoyed my little journey of nerddom for this silly little series of movies, or at least the first roughly half of these movies. And yeah, I just had to like release the valve a little bit, let off some of the pressure of years of wanting to talk about these to someone other than like the 4 people I know and bother them. So this is kind of a gift to them by geeking out over these movies to a bunch of strangers that I'll probably never meet from all over the world. So again, I appreciate everybody who's been listening, and be well, be safe, stay creepy, keep talking some damn horror.
Doodles.
Broadcast completed. You've been listening to What an Excellent Day for a Podcast. Be sure to come on down to excellentdayforapodcast.com, where you'll find our entire catalog. And for your convenience, every episode contains a link where you can text the nerds. Want to throw some praise? Some critique? Perhaps you have a suggestion for a topic you'd like to see us tackle. But while you think about that, you could also check out the connections to all of our socials, including our YouTube channel. Give all them a visit. But don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with everybody you know. And for those feeling a little extra generous, there's also a button where you can support the show in other ways. Every bit of support helps. Well, that's it for this episode. And remember, stay creepy and keep talking some damn horror.